Hello, and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you. We're going to people of Tube. Hope you're well today, hope you're feeling grand, and all's well in the world, and I certainly hope I didn't scare you then with my horrific face. Hello, everybody. Today, everybody, we're playing through this thing, and we're going to review it, and we're going to have some fun, and we're going to hopefully make some very beautiful noises. What is this, though? Okay, this is the Marshall Studio. Well, what is it? Classic Studio? I forget what they're called now because my brain doesn't work because of the intro jam. But that's okay because we will persevere because that's what we do. Ha. Okay, so yes, the Marshall Studio Classic. That's what it's called. Haha, I'm genius. No, I'm not. Anyway, moving along. I am hyper. So, calm. Okay, so yes, this is the Marshall Studio Classic. This is not mine. This is my friend Nicole's, who's very, very kindly lent me this to do a video with, and I'm extremely grateful. And I might have to steal this and go to Barbados and have lots of Plexi babies. Might be a bit weird, but nothing is weird. Or is it? I don't know. I'm out of my mind. Anyway, so it's basically a 20-watt Plexi. It's a 4-hole, no master volume amp. The only difference is on the standby switch we have a high and a low kind of input, and basically the low is obviously lower wattage, high is higher wattage. This thing, though, even on the low mode, is shockingly loud. I mean, in here, I've got it on 2, and that's ridiculous. That's loud at 2 in low mode. So, this thing you could easily gig with. No issues. No, I really don't think you would struggle to gig with this thing. And it sounds fantastic. This sounds so much better than my 1987X that I used to have, the 50-watt Plexi. That amp doesn't even come close to how good this thing is. It's absolutely amazing. And I mean, I've been wanting one of these. I nearly bought one a couple of months ago. Well, many months ago now. But nowhere had them in stock when I was going to buy. I nearly bit the bullet and nearly bought one, but I didn't get a chance to. But anyway, like I say, very lucky in the fact that my friend Nicole lent me hers, and this has come all the way from the south of France, everybody. So, I'm extremely grateful, and I love it. And I'm just going to have to steal it, I'm afraid. There's nothing else to it. Anyway, so we're going to go through it today, through with a couple of different guitars. When we change guitar, it's just going to be straight into the amp. There's going to be no pedals. But the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to show you my pedal board. Basically, go through all my pedals and just kind of like let you hear it with kind of like, what I'm using, basically. It's a Plexi though, so it loves pedals. There is no pedal that I can't run into this thing that it doesn't go, love that one, mate. Let's play it again. Because that is one of the things I've always loved about Plexis, is they just love everything. Personally, for me, what I've found anyway, it's why it's my perfect kind of valve amp, really. If I was to get a valve amp, it'd be one of these now, because I love it. Although I do have another one that you'll see soon. But anyway, that's neither here nor there right now, and we also have that one as well, which you will see soon. But anyway, moving along. So, yeah, it just works fantastically. It sounds like a Plexi to me. It behaves and reacts like a Plexi. At one point, yes, we will be turning it to 10. Sorry, neighbours, but it has to happen. You can't play through a Plexi and not crank the thing all the way to the top. It's kind of against the law. Okay, so I'm going into the low impedance on on channel 1 for my pedalboard. I just found that's where my pedalboard liked it more, and I like it in that input. It's a little bit more low gain. Input 1 was a bit too bright and didn't quite have the headroom in the low mode, and I want to run it in low mode. I probably won't run it in high just because it's too loud to run it in high mode. But when we crank it to 10, I might stick it in high. I don't know. We will see. Anyway, enough yakking on, Dave. Let's get to it. So, pedalboard first into the Marshall Studio Classic. Adore it. Oh yeah, and just let you know, the Ditto loop is going through the effects loop. This has got a switchable in and out effects loop, which is super cool. So you can have it in the circuit or out. I have it in obviously because I want the looper, which is really cool. And it just, yes, if you want a Plexi, there you go. Fantastic. Anyway, let me show you what I mean, because it's just meh. Okie dokie. So, sorry everyone, I apologise, but like I say, it would be a day video if the phone didn't go off, would it? Okay, so that's with a pedal board. I'm heavily in love. Be still, my beating heart. Okay, so let you know what's going on with the control, how I've got the amp set. 'Cause I didn't say that at the beginning, but that's the pedal board. That's all my pedals basically. You know, there's DS2s, fuzzes, governors, you know, all the things. The jackhammer was on all the time because I never really turn that thing off. It always pretty much stays on. This guitar is in E flat as well, so yes, just let you know if it sounds a bit weird, that's probably why. Okay, so I have the amp set up like this. This is how I've got the EQ set. So I have presence at 2. I have volume at 4. Bass at 4. Doi. And I have middle at 2. I have no treble. Treble's on 0. And I have the high treble volume at 2. And the normal volume is on 0. Okay, so, and when I mean 2, I mean like basically 9 o'clock. So it's basically set like presence at 9 o'clock. Bass is at 11 o'clock, middle is at 9 o'clock, treble's all the way off, so it's basically, well, 7 o'clock, give or take. And I've got the loudness at 9 o'clock as well. Loudness 2 is doing nothing at this point in time. I haven't got it ghosting, and I'll talk about ghosting in a bit. Okay, so that's how I've got it set up for pedals. So now what we're going to do is we're going to unplug Mr. Pedalboard, and we're going to go straight into it. I will be changing EQ. I also will be, at some points, jumpering the 2 channels like you can on the Plexi. The first sound you hear will be a jumpered sound between channel 1 and channel 2. I'll come out of the low impedance on channel 1, so the bottom input on channel 1, going into channel 2's high impedance, and then the guitar will go into the high impedance on channel 1. So basically jumpered from there to there, and coming out of there into my guitar. No pedals now, so there will be no reverb from this point on. So it's going to be very dry sound. The reverb in the pedalboard bit was coming from the Zoom G2. So, right, further ado, let's put it to standby so we don't kill anybody when I unplug anything. Okay, so let's go straight in and get some straight Plexi noises. I can't even speak. I'm too excited. Anyway, moving along. It's around this time, people of the tube, that we are going to put earplugs in because it's blooming gonna get loud now. Okie dokie. Okay, so I've got earplugs in, so I do apologise if I'm shouting. Okay, so this works like, well, it just works. That's all I can say, really. I love it. I absolutely love it. So what I'm going to do now is I want to show you a thing called ghosting, and all Plexis do this. It's really, really cool. So at this point in time, I'm into input 1 on the high treble channel. So I'm there, obviously, and there's nothing in the others. But the normal volume level will still have an impact on my overall sound. It'll actually fatten the sound up if I run this volume on 10, even though nothing's plugged into it. So I'm going to quickly play like a chord. I'm going to keep the volume on. Keep the volume. Well, actually, I'll put the volume back down to 5 because that was on 10. It's the best place to run a Plexi because there is no other volume. Yeah, I'll put the volume down to 5, which is kind of a bit more, a bit less breakup. And what I'll do is I'll roll in loudness 2, and hopefully, you might be able to hear it just fatten out the sound a little bit more. It doesn't really add any gain. It just kind of fattens it up a little bit more. So hopefully that. And then what we'll do after that, well, we'll talk about it in a sec. So let me show you this ghosting thing. It's really cool, and I really advise it if you're running this amp loud like this to get distortion. Really cool. So let's let me see if this comes across. So hopefully you might be able to hear it. Just sounds a little bit fatter with the loudness 2 on full whack. I've got the loudness 1 at 5, so 12 o'clock straight up. And the loudness 2 is just dimed. And hopefully you can kind of hear it, like, there's an increase in the low end. There's no more gain. It doesn't add any more kind of overdrive to the amp. It just fattens it out a little bit more. And it's a really cool thing to do. I wasn't doing it on every sound example that you heard just now. It was just a case of like, on the Les Paul only, on the RTL. So, what I want to do now is I want to go around the different inputs. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to set both volumes at 5, at 12 o'clock, straight up. And I'm going to go around the high impedance channel 1, low impedance channel 1, high impedance channel 2, and low impedance channel 2. And show you the difference in the sounds that this has got in it. So yeah, so let's do that. Okie dokie, so you can hear the difference in like kind of like the inputs of like, you know, channel. The normal channel is really dark. It's really kind of like, you know, it's got not. It doesn't really have a lot of character to it. It's very kind of like warm and woolly, which is, you know, is really cool when you jumper it, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But channel 1 is kind of like where all the brightness and the life lives, really. Excuse me. Excuse me again. So, I always feel that the low impedance input on channel 1 is like the best place for pedals. Non-jumpered, of course. I always like this one. I don't know what. I just feel it sounds better. I don't know. I've always liked that on Plexis, that bottom one. I think it's because I noticed that Jimi Hendrix always used to come out the low impedance on his Plexis. Not all the time, but quite a lot of the time you'd see Jimmy, his guitar would come out the low impedance. He would daisy chain to another amp. That's a whole new video in itself, daisy chaining. But he would daisy chain one amp to the other through the high impedances, but he would come out of the low impedance to his guitar quite a lot of the time. Apart from certain gigs, there's Woodstock is in the high impedance, and a certain few here and there. I think the gig in Stockholm, he's in the high impedance as well. I think it was just, you know, but I think it's just whenever he felt like it, you know, it would change around. But I have seen him a lot. Most of the pictures I've seen and what I've seen him in the low impedance. But I could be totally wrong, but that's okay. Okay, so so you can hear the difference in, like, you know, the how it changes from input to input. And what I really love about Plexis, and this is like the standout feature to me on a Plexi, is when you take like a little patch lead and you jumper the channels, you can just like set your EQ to whatever you want it. Like, you know, you can set it pretty, you know, pretty straightforward and flat if you want, and you can get so much kind of like the volumes become less volumes and more kind of tone controls. You know, they become a bright. There, volume 1 becomes a brightness, and volume 2 becomes like a bass kind of like dial. So you get like a treble and a bass, so you can really dial it in. And I've always loved that about Plexis. It's one of those things that I really miss on every other amp I play through. That ability to kind of really blend bright and low. It's really, really cool. I love that. And this one does it so well. It's ridiculous. Okay, so that's that. Jumpering just means, you know, just linking the two channels. You know, there's a million videos about jumpering out there in YouTube land. I don't want to go too much into that today, but this thing is amazing. Also, another thing to note is once you get the volume to about 5 on this amp, the volume increase from like 12 o'clock all the way to the top is very minimal. So volume, when it's on 0 to about 12 o'clock, it's quite, you know, it goes up quite a bit. It goes to quite loud. But once you get to 5, 5 to about, well, 12 o'clock till 3 o'clock is very minimal volume increase, but you get more gain. And then once you get past 8 to 10, so 3 o'clock basically all the way up, you're just getting more gain. You're no longer getting any more volume at that point. You're just getting more distortion. I don't know. I don't think I can demonstrate that, but let's try anyway. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'll start with the volume on 0. I'll turn it up to 5, and hopefully you'll hear the volume increase. And then once it gets to about 5, which I'll point out with a thumbs up, from 5 to 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, you'll hear more gain appear. But the volume won't go as far. So it won't jump as high as it would from 0 to 12 o'clock. I'm mixing up numbers now, so I do apologise. I hope this makes sense. And then when we get to like 3 o'clock, 8, if you will, to 10, you'll just notice there's more gain and no volume increase whatsoever. So let me see if I can demo that for you, because I think it's quite cool. And I like that as well, because it means if you're using this amp for your main kind of distortion tone, your overdrive bass rhythm tone, which is what these things are fantastic for, as well as everything else, it just gives you that ability to kind of like get that at a really, you know, usable volume, especially in the low mode. In all fairness, though, this still isn't a home amp. Like I said, I'm wearing earplugs because it's that loud in this room. It's not. I wouldn't really necessarily class this as a home use amp unless you've got like soundproof room. So, you know, this is very loud, and we are going to stick it in high mode in a minute. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it in high mode, crank it to 10 and put the Hubcap John Iron Man treble booster through it and plug the Strat back into it as the finale. So anyway, let me show you the volume increase and let you hear that. Okay, so hopefully you could hear that. Like I say, once you get to 5, the volume doesn't really go anywhere of merit. You know, the amp at that point is so compressed with gain that you're just not going to get any more volume out of it. There's too much distortion, and I always think, well, the Plexi's full of sweet spots, but for kind of like a clean kind of thing, the sweet spot's normally around 2 or 3. Like that edge of break, you know, around 3 and 4 is where you start to get edge of breakup with a Plexi. Really, I mean, all the Plexis I've played, including the older ones, when you got them turned up to about 3 or 4, that was when they started to break up and come alive. Anything from 0 to so from off to about like 10 o'clock was clean, and then once you got it above 11 o'clock, it started to break up and distort in that gloriously beautiful way that Plexis do. I mean, if I was running this with if I was running this just kind of like straight with like a minimal pedal board, so to say. Say I didn't have my jackhammer or something like that, I would put the volume about 4. And I would probably leave it there and just kind of like get everything out and just kind of dial it in with the amp. I'd probably jumper it as well, but that's where I would set it, because that's kind of like edge of breakup, kind of cleanish, dirty clean John Frusciante thing that I like. So, anyway, so as a finale, everybody, let's turn the volume. Well, actually, I'll leave volume 2 all the way up, loudness 2. I love the fact they're called loudness 1 and loudness 2. Fantastic. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to put it into standby. I'm going to put back my EQ from earlier. By the way, the EQ has been changing. It's mainly, though, been... I haven't touched the treble dial once. Treble has been on 0 for the entire video because I just hate treble. So I've been basically riding the present style. The bass has been on 10 for the whole thing. The mid has been around basically between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, and same with the present. So it's been around between 9 and 11 o'clock. So from there to there, give or take. There's no reason to turn it up any higher, really. For me, anyway, and there's no reason to turn the bass down. But anyway, so well, for me, anyway, this is my personal preference. You know, don't take that as gospel to what you do when you play, if you get one of these or you have one of these or when you play through one of these. So, but that's how I've got it set and whatnot. So, I'm going to unplug Mr. RTL 59, and we're going to plug in the Oswald Strat. Going to get the treble booster and put it into high mode, volume on 10, with the ghosting, so normal volume be on 10 as well, coming out the high impedance, into the treble booster, out into the Strat. Are you ready for this? I certainly am. No treble booster, so this is with the treble booster. Okay. I take my earplugs out now. That's the sound. That's the sound. I don't know what else to say. Oh my god. I actually didn't know what to play. I got lost in that sound with the trouble. I was like, I don't know what to play. I felt like I can't do this. I can't do this sound justice. Oh my god, I got lost. Anyway, that was set up. I had both channels jumpered for that sound, so I had all the EQ set on 0 because I'm using a treble booster. I don't want it to get like nasty in my ears. So all the EQ is on 0 there. So presence, bass, middle, and treble all set to 0. Loudness 1 is on 10. Loudness 2 is on 8. So, and it was in the high mode. My god, was it loud. I wanted to play longer, but, you know, residential area and all that, not a good idea. You know, unless we want the police knocking on the door and arresting me and taking me to jail for crimes against volume. I don't know. Is that even a thing? Probably not. Anyway, he's a clever boy, is our Dave. Anyway, so there you go, everybody. Marshall Studio Classic. I have wanted to try one of these since they first came out, and it didn't disappoint. I've watched countless reviews on this thing over and over and over and over and over again, and gone, I just want to try one, you know. And now I want one. Now I've tried one, I want one. I love it to bits. Massive thanks to my friend Nicole for the loan of this. I love it so much. I really do love it. It sounds fantastic. And I'm really sad to see this one go, I've got to say. Like, yeah, I really am. I think this is my favourite Marshall I've ever played through, next to the 68 Super Bass, because it does what I want it to, what a Plexi to do. Like, I can get my pedal board to work happily through it, like, you know, on a clean, kind of nice clean headroom kind of thing. And then I can get it to overdrive the way I want it to overdrive as well. And it just gives me that Plexi sound, which I love so much. And also you can record, you can DI out this thing. I ain't got time to try the DI or anything, unfortunately. But I'm sure it's great. You know, the DI and the MG is fantastic. So I can imagine that's even better. Well, how can it be better than that? It's perfect. But you know what I mean. And it's just perfect. It's absolutely perfect. That is one perfect Plexi. It's a PP. It really is. And now I need one in my life. But I can't afford one in my life. But maybe one day. But Marshall nailed it again. Yeah, but I've played through a lot of reissue Plexis, and they don't sound like that. That sounds like a Plexi to me. That you know, some of these reissue Plexis, like my 1987X 50 watter, it didn't. When it broke up, it was just harsh, and it was gnarly, and it had teeth, and it wasn't very nice. It wasn't very warm and fat. It wasn't that Marshall Plexi thing that I adore and love, and I've been spoilt in the fact I've been able to play so many old ones. I'm a lucky little git for that. It doesn't quite have the oomph of the Super Bass that I love, the old hat. It doesn't quite have that growl and that bottom end, but I think that's because it's not a bass amp. You know, the Super Bass has more thump, you know, in the low end. And it's a little bit, the Super Bass is a little bit warmer. This one's a little bit brighter. I don't want to say harsher because it's not harsh at all. But the Super Bass has got a bit more oomph to it. But I wouldn't complain, you know what I mean? It's minimal. It's minimal. It's just me being picky. Anyway, so but this amp is fantastic. I love it to bits. It looks amazing. It sounds amazing. I think if it was mine, I'd be tempted to get it biased a little bit cooler than it is. So its breakup was more around like 3 o'clock, you know, when it's getting close to being wound all the way up, instead of kind of like maybe 12 o'clock where it really starts to go. You know, this amp really starts to break up at 12 o'clock. I think I'd be more inclined to get it rebiased so it was running like, you know, a bit cooler. So the breakup was probably around like, you know, 2-3 o'clock, kind of. That's where the edge of breakup was, so it never got too distorted, you know what I mean? Because I would want to use this more for kind of like that semi-clean, dirty kind of I want more clean headroom out of it, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I'd probably be tempted to do that if it was mine, but and if I get one, I probably will do that. I'll probably get it rebiased so it's runs a little bit cooler. Because I love how hot this is running, like, you know, and I'm sure it could go a little bit more, but I as much as I love it, I would want it to just be a little bit more headroom on it. But that's, again, just me being, you know, picky, like us guitarists are so much. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody, on the Marshall Studio Pro. I have adored this video. I have loved playing through this thing. I have loved the sounds it's made. I hope they've come across okay. I really hope, you know, there's been something informative in this video. I hope the playing was okay, but I don't feel sometimes it was the best, but hopefully it was okay. And yeah, if you want a Plexi, everybody, fairly, you know, they're not ridiculously, you know, compared to like, you know, the 100-watt reissues and the 50-watt reissues or the JTM 45s, you know, these are a lot lower priced, and, you know, you could still go gigging with this thing. It's still going to kicks out some volume. You could easily gig in the high mode, definitely giggable. No ifs, no buts. It's so loud. Which is exactly what you want a Plexi to be. You know, it doesn't want to be quiet and sat in the corner. It wants to be loud and obnoxious and in your face. But at the same time, in your face. But while in your face, giving you a massive hug like this. So, you know, it's kind of like in your face, but at the same time giving you a very warm, loving hug. That's what a Plexi should do. To me anyway. For whatever that means to me. Anyway, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video, everybody. I'll see you again very soon for another one. I have another valve amp to show you soon. It's definitely 2020. It's gone weird. Sorry, I was peeking out the camera, man. I thought it was going to crash. Anyway, yeah, definitely weirdo year, isn't it? But yeah. But this tweed amp I've got, this tweed amp I've bought, which if you follow me on social media, you've already seen. I couldn't pass it up. It was too special. It's like this. There are certain amps where you just go, I need to have that. They have certain something, and it's very rare sometimes. But there are those times where you're just like, I need to have that. But I can't leave the shop without getting this. So you'll see that soon. Well, on Friday you'll see that, because next video is going to be A&Q. So on Friday, another valve amp. Oh my god, it's all gone weird in 2020. So yeah, Friday we'll go through this Fender Tweed amp I've got, and yeah, and I'll see you then. Well, I'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, everybody. Have a good one. Goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching.